Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call a meeting to order. It's 1:09 p.m. This is the monthly meeting of the Dayton Stormwater Committee, Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. We're in the Old Town Hall upper level meeting room, 1111 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Mass. 02715. This is a public meeting being video and audio recorded for posting on YouTube. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Attendance: David Phillips.
Here.
Tom Ferry.
Here.
Lisa Caldonia. And Nancy Goulart's here. I did hear from Jim. He said he was not going to be able to make it, but he did send us a written report. Did you see that email, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, so Tom's going to give us that report. You all set, Heather? Okay, 4A project updates, Brook Street. Tom, would you read that report from Jim Aguirre?
Morning. I guess I can say. I will be unable to attend today's stormwater meeting. In lieu of my presence, please allow this email to provide a detailed update regarding a recent site visit. The highway superintendent and I visited the project. We walked the entire site to determine if all the outstanding items had been addressed. I am pleased to report that the site is clear of debris. The fence has been repaired. Vegetation within the array has been cut and or mowed. The site overall looked great. The only outstanding item is the replanting of the missing or deceased shrubbery as required for the vegetation screening within the designated perimeter buffer areas. Weather permitting, we understand this should take place sometime within the next few weeks. I would defer to Mr. Ferry to update the committee on the stormwater basins.
So do you have any comments on the basin? Were they okay?
The basins are holding out. That new upgrade was working. Was there yesterday, just under the 24-hour mark after that almost 3-inch event. Most of the basin floor was exposed. Just that one northeast corner still had a little bit of water, and I don't think you need more material. It's just a matter of regrading the stone to take care of that little bit of water. I did take pictures if you want me to present them to you.
Yeah.
And then just a little bit of material came from under the array onto the stones, but I don't think any more is going to do that, especially when the vegetation starts to grow. So I think just on the basin that's closest to the road to the north, just a little bit of grading when the machine's there to do some planting would just suffice. Okay.
Email those photos to Jonathan and Tayaba just for their information.
Sure. You all set with them?
Pass them around. Lisa, if you want to pass those around so we can all see them. Jonathan, do you have any questions or Tayaba?
No, I think it's fairly straightforward and in keeping with our own observations. So no further comment from us.
Okay. Does the committee have any comments? Yes.
As far as conservation matters go, I know you're new to this, but I just wanted to make you aware that there was additional work done that was outside the original limit of disturbance, so on the south end of the property. And there's been a fence that's been put up, so the area beyond that, the Conservation Commission is requiring them to restore, so.
Could you hear her, Jonathan?
I did. So my understanding is there's some tree planting that needs to go on there. We've got that. If that is indeed what we're talking about, that is scheduled to happen near the end of the current work. that's being done, the electrical commissioning work that's being done on the site right now. So we do have that within our plan, and it was made clear to us that that
And
needs
give
to
it to
be done.
Heather.
Okay, and then I guess we just, the commission needs to know like what you're planning to plant and what the quantities are. So we'd want to know the species and quantities. If you could just kind of loop us into the conversation so we could be involved with it and when it's happening and all that. That'd be great. But otherwise, from a stormwater perspective, I don't have anything.
Does anyone here in the audience wish to speak? Have any questions? Okay, if not, we're all set, Jonathan. So the next thing will be when you get ready to have planting done, if you just let Tom Ferry know, and he can let Lisa know. And whoever's doing that, if they check with Tom, he can explain about this, that small amount of grading that he thinks needs to be done, okay?
Fair enough.
Do you
Thank
know
you
when-
very much.
Do you know when you're gonna go live?
I think, and this is not, it tends to move around a little bit, but I believe we will end up, when we say live, we're talking about the whole, there's a couple of stages, as you may be aware, to take the site live. So the final stage should be complete by the middle of April. The preliminary stage where National Grid comes out and does their very first testing, that should actually happen next week.
Okay, when I say go live, I mean you're up and running, fully connected to the grid and you're generating, so.
Yeah, that'll be the middle of April.
Okay. Okay, thank
We
you
will
very
be,
much.
yeah, we will be connected, just as a further point of clarification, we will be connected to the grid as soon as next week. But we won't be considered to be live and generating at that point.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
We're all set.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And item 4B, MACS Arujos. The note says as-built plans. And just before I left the house, I had an email from James Pearson from Weston and Sampson. And he said, we have the Arujo as-built. What we are really waiting for is a revised stormwater analysis that demonstrates that the as-built conditions align with the approved design intent. So evidently their engineers still need to give something to Weston and Sampson so we can figure this out. I'm going to send a email to Pete Warren and just ask him what the status is of this and when will this final report be submitted. I would think the information should have been ready when you completed the as-built. It should have been a package, unless what they submitted needs revision. And he did say revised stormwater analysis. So I think we all remember when Mr. Pilling was here, quite often he'd say, I sent it back because the math doesn't work. So I think it's that kind of a thing. So we will have Brook Street on the agenda next month. And it may be the last time we do it, or we may have it in a couple more months, waiting for Tom to let us know the planting's been done and Lisa says everything's okay with Concom. And it's same thing with the MACS. We'll hopefully have an update on the status of that stormwater analysis. Zero Elm Street, is there anything new to report? I know they've been sending their reports all along. I look at them, I don't comment every time, but Lisa, it's going okay?
Appears to be.
Okay,
They seem to be making the repairs pretty quickly.
Yep.
Have you been by there recently, Tom?
Not on the property, no, but yes, I like the way they're responding
Yeah.
to you.
I think we were lucky this last storm. We didn't get really torrential rain in 2 hours and wipe out everything. It was a lot of rain, but at least I was surprised because I looked out, I didn't even see puddles. Where I usually see water in the neighbors' yards. So that was,
We did get torrential, but it was during the night.
Yep.
It was pretty significant.
but it drained away, so the ground must be,
No, it was enough to cause damage if we were good. That's why I went to Grasshopper, because it was enough to follow up on.
okay,
Yep.
okay. Hunter's Hill, anything on Hunter's Hill?
Hunter's Hill has 2 single-family houses before the Conservation Commission for a public hearing on Thursday evening. Other than that, you know, they just continue to be working on the existing lots that we approved, lots that commission has already approved. Their basins, I'm gonna take a look at them because I'm sure they're looking like they're filling up. Evan sent me pictures, but I was out there, what, a month ago?
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we were out there and took a look at it. Pretty neat.
It's cool.
They still have their silt sacks in along the roadway and the catch basins, and they should be maintaining those.
Are they building, do they have foundations or anything like that?
Yep, we actually have houses, yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's good. You have anything on Hunter's Hill, Tom?
Well, those of us that do visit the site, there's a construction entrance. You do not drive through the community at all. You're supposed to go straight through the undeveloped part. That seems to be working well. I do see tire tracks from other vendors going to the development, but that's not us. No one's squawked about it yet.
Okay.
There's something to be cognizant if you wanted to visit it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the next time someone goes to Hunter's Hill, let me know if I'm around. I'd like to see it. Obviously, I haven't been there since we had the tour.
Yeah, with what I just said, though, it probably shouldn't be your vehicle.
Oh, no, I won't go in my car. I'll be with Mr. Ferry and the climb up this ladder to get to the truck.
I can take the work truck and we can go.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we can schedule one for next week if you'd like.
Okay,
Do that?
just let me know when. I can look at my calendar. Okay, the 4E, presentation by Jerice Schwartz at the Selectmen's meeting. So Jerice made a presentation at the meeting on February 26th, so the Board of Selectmen and the public got more information on exactly what's being done as part of the review of our stormwater program, and this is being paid by ARPA funds. I just got a bill today. Invoice is $8,946.83.
That's through the ARPA money.
Yep, the year-to-date expenditure, including 8,900, is $25,791.17. We have a balance in the funding of $19,208.83.
19,000 or 1,900?
Yeah, 19,208.83. I'm going to give this to you anyhow, Tom, so you can get it processed. And what Jerice says in this invoice. This memo describes the work performed by Weston and Sampson through February 21, 2025. The total invoice is $8,946.83. Work performed this period includes Phase A, development of the town's MS4 implementation plan to document status of compliance and associated costs. Phase C, report development related to outfall mapping and dry weather outfall screening and sampling conducted to date. So that's the update on that. The number 4F, the FY 2026 budget. Tom and I were here for that. So Tom, you want to give an update or just let the committee know, like, for those that weren't here, what happened?
So we did our annual combination financial budget proposal with the finance committee, selectmen, all at once. The significant, our budget presented was pretty much actual. There was a cut. I did a small cut in the police detail line, the contractual line, represented what the new Serpent consortium bid was. So those are numbers that moved naturally. And I did make sure everyone recognized a new line on my expense lines that was created just for the stormwater in lieu of what Nancy's last comments were that segued into it. So part of us coming up to speed, we're going to be funding in compliance with the new MS4, the current NOI we have, because we're coming to a close in NOI and we hit certain goals. But our best guess, she came up with a dollar amount that was much more than 15,000, but our best guess right now, so we added 15,000 to that line. And that's just for budgeting now. I would hope within a month and a half, we would have a more solid number of a sense of direction. So that 15,000 is just in there for budgeting purposes at this time.
But it could be more.
Well, it is more, but we're talking about goals per year. So
Right.
budgeting for next fiscal year, that 15,000, what we're going to accomplish here. So next year, we have to, to stay in compliance, we'll have to identify what that dollar value is moving forward, but
Gotcha.
Steps.
little chunks.
Gotcha.
When Tom and I met with the town administrator and town accountant, and I gave him that estimate from Jerice, best guess, really. Ralph said it was in the neighborhood of $90,000. Her recommendations are that we chip away at this over the next 3 years. And so we picked updating the IDD, the stormwater prevention plan, management plan, whatever. And I said at the meeting with the selectmen, I don't think it's going to cost $15,000 to update those two plans. She gave us an estimate because she had not seen the plans yet, but I gave them to her. And I did have updates in them about vehicle maintenance, a new inventory of vehicles and buildings. And there are other parts of it that are completed. So, but again, if we get the 15,000 and don't spend it all on those plans, there may be something else on there we can do to remove something else from the list.
Now, the question that's in my mind, each year, I mean, are you going to get 15 grand ARPA funds?
Oh, no,
each
no, wait a
year?
minute, no.
Or is that just one?
This is not, this is the 45,000 we got is it. It was
Okay.
the end of the ARPA money. The request was in, and initially it was, yeah, we think it's okay. This is through the county, not through the town. And Mike had to keep chasing it. And finally they said, well, now we need an update. So we had to get an updated proposal from Weston and Sampson. Not that it changed, it's just that in order to get the money approved, I don't know if they thought that the proposal would have changed, but the 15,000 is separate from the ARPA money. The 15 is that $90,000 I mentioned would be cost to the town unless out of the blue we get grant money. And that's why with the budget being so tight this year, that those two items were picked and it was guesstimated at 15,000. So one of the things they have on the list is to update the maps. And Tom and I feel the maps are fine. Tom drew the maps, but they would like to see, you know, the GIS map that, you know, but you know what? If you don't have the money, you can't spend it on something like that. The maps work. And I'd rather spend money on stuff that we have to do to be in compliance with EPA regs. So anyhow, that's where we are. So we'll have an update again next month, just so you know what's happening. 5A, public records request. And that should be requests, plural, because a second one has come in. So the first one came in from Mr. Crisafulli, who wants all these stormwater records and information going back to when the committee was formed to the current date, as it relates to, well, minutes and agendas relate to everything stormwater. So anyhow, Mr. Ferry and I went through the list of items he wanted. And I responded to the town clerk because the list of items contains things that are not truly stormwater. So the first response was all agendas and minutes are online and can be seen online at this site, because they said they wanted them, if possible, in electronic format. So that takes care of a big chunk. I asked for an extension of 10 days minimum beyond the date that they had. There was a request for information. He referenced NPDES, MS4, and Tom and I looked at it and we don't know what he's asking for. So the letter asked for clarification. Please ask Mr. Crisafulli, what is it he's looking for? He wanted copies of all the plans. We did find 6 sets of plans at the old library. One happened to be a duplicate because there was a note to Todd from me saying, I don't need this, and I found one. So evidently at one time, somebody gave him 2 copies and I ended up with one. But the 5 copies that are there are the typical, you know, they're this wide, they're all rolled up. So I have spoken to the town clerk and also to Kerry, because Kerry may have these electronically already. To photocopy those pages, Kerry said it's about $10 a sheet, and there are 5 plans. So I got to prepare another response to the town clerk. When somebody asks for private records, it goes, public records, it goes through the town clerk, and all responses go back through the town clerk. So we as a committee don't respond to the individual, all right? So that's where we are with that. I don't know if the town clerk has forwarded a copy of the letter and what our questions, concerns were, but I outlined every item and how we would respond to it. I'm still waiting to hear from Pete Williams regarding an extension of their stormwater permit. So I'm waiting to hear. The second request came in this week, and I copied you on emails. A request came in to forward all emails that mentioned Barbara Catavia. And these were to all town officials. So I got in touch with the town clerk's office and said, we need to pare this down as far as stormwater committee goes. And I got permission. All of the stormwater correspondence that I have on my computer, whatever it is, with the exception of minutes and agendas. Again, the reference will be, it's on the website. You can see it electronically. But when I go through it, any other correspondence, I will forward to the town clerk electronically, and she can respond. Because it made no sense that every member of the stormwater committee looks at all that stuff and forwards all those emails, because somebody's file or computer is going to blow up. They'll never be able to handle all of the same duplicated responses. So the only thing the stormwater committee members have to do is look at your emails. If it's from me, you don't have to respond, I will. If anyone had a email correspondence with Barbara Catavia, regardless of what it's about, you need to forward those to the town clerk. Other than that, the Stormwater Committee does not have to respond to this individually. And I will write a letter clarifying minutes, agendas, and that I will in fact submit for the Stormwater Committee. When the email came back to me, it was Becky who was writing to me, and she said, however you want to handle stormwater correspondence, email is fine with us. So again, it'll save emails, it'll save time. I can't imagine tying people up looking through emails when I got to do it anyhow. So that's how we're going to handle that. And-
With Outlook, you can just search the person's name.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fortunately, it doesn't go back to the beginning of time. The other one is a much longer request. It was 2018 is when the committee was formed. So there's a lot more
That's a
stuff.
lot. Right, that's a lot.
Mhm. And again, agendas and minutes are online. The other stuff that he requested, I pretty much broke it all out. It's not all the responsibility of stormwater. It's because stuff that's talked about is available in other departments. So those plans are a big thing. So Kerry said she'd look into it. So, but anyhow, we'll have updates on this as we work through it. 5B, solar canopies, 2200 Lewis Street. So what do we have, Lisa?
So we actually have a withdrawal request from them. So they filed and the plan was presented at our February meeting. Some concerns were brought up by the residents. And I suggest this, anyone from the Stormwater Committee watches the meeting. But yeah, they've withdrawn their application.
Was this for personal use or was it going to tie into the grid?
Not sure. We didn't get that far into
Oh.
everything.
Okay,
We only had one public hearing when they presented, and I thought it was just for the use of the commercial site. We did receive a Weston and Sampson proposal for review of the stormwater and compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act and stormwater management standards, and they withdrew the application.
well, I would imagine they probably looked at it and didn't realize there were additional costs they were going to incur even before it got off the ground. So,
Yeah.
good. Agenda item 6, report on the 2025 calendars and promotional items for our public education program. So I picked the calendars up on February 14th, got them out. All town buildings, departments, both post offices, and got permission to put them in both banks in town. I drafted 2 letters that were sent to the 2 bank managers, and I actually have 2 letters here for us to sign. Tom and I will sign these. Just thanking the banks, because this was the first time I used banks, but because I missed lights on, I had a lot of calendars. And so between the post offices and the banks, they just disappeared. And I restocked them a couple of times. So there are a few around. I think there's some down back in some of the town buildings. And eventually I'll go around and see what's left and take those and put them in the post office also. But the response was very good. Both post offices, the women that work there said to me, oh, the calendars are out. That's good. People keep asking us for them as if as if the post office issues calendars. And they said, we don't know where they are. We didn't get them. So I'm collecting pictures for the 2026 calendar. I've already got some. So anybody has pictures of a scene in Dayton, no people, no buildings, just email them to me at my regular email address, because I've started the file. And I'm going to be in touch with BP before they close in June to find out, when can I send these to you? I think what happened was the first year we did it, there were 2 students assigned. And this past year, there were more students. And although I'm sure the teacher likes to include the kids, it's just too many people. And it causes delays. So anyhow, that's where we are with calendars. The other thing is educational materials. Tom, what does our budget look like that we're in right now?
So we still have $1,215 from the encumbrance that was designated for this project.
Oh, that's the calendars. That was carried over.
Yes, and anticipating redoing the other ones, or either entertaining the others one up. So that's after the calendars are paid for, $1,215.
Very good.
And we still have in communications, $1,307. So you get a total of $2,522.32 to play with. And the police detail line could cover a little overage.
Okay, so I got in touch with BP and asked him about doing bags for us, and also the grippers, because we gave all of those out, and those are very, very popular. We haven't bought these for, we may have gotten them in before COVID or right around the beginning of COVID, but anyhow, I contacted the company we get them from after I went to BP. BP cannot do the bags that we have because those bags are made out of recycled plastic bottles, and it's a heat process. So if they don't melt, the other problem is you have to spread them out and let the ink dry, and they don't have capacity to do 500 bags and spread them out here and there. We don't have clotheslines either. So bags will not be coming from BP. Now, they did go online while I was there, and they said that they could do grippers for around 32 to 35 cents. There's some additional costs because we have those equipment maintenance and hazardous something or other. The price from the company we bought the grippers from in the past was 90 cents each. So obviously, I'm going to be looking at a quote from Bristol Plymouth. So the only question I have is, how many do you want to get? What I'm thinking of is, when we bought bags and grippers the last time, obviously financially we were better off than we are this year going into next year. We bought 1,000 of each. So, and they lasted, I mean, quite a few years. If we could order a number that's divisible by, let's say 200, which means if we bought 600, I could do 3 events, because I would limit the giveaway to 3 events and make it stretch over the next 3 years, or 3 events, or however we're going to do this. So I'm thinking, if we went with the 600 from BP, and it's going to be a little bit more, so maybe I'll use 35 cents. Maybe I'll even go, you know what, maybe I'll go, So that would, yeah, it's like, what, $240? All right, so if we got 600 grippers, and I'm using 40 cents, which is, I hope, on the high side, that would be $240. Now, because the others, because that VP can't do the bags, what the company said was anything less than 1,000 is going to cost us $1.55 each. Which would be $930 plus setup of 45 plus shipping, and I don't know how much that is. So that would be 600 bags at an estimate of $975. So we'd be looking at, for 600 bags and 600 grippers, we're looking at $1,215
That's exactly what you got in your budget.
plus shipping. I don't know what shipping is, and it's not cheap, I can tell you that, but, and that's only obviously on the bags, because I pick up the other stuff. So,
I still think you should tweak that a little bit. I know that shipping was expensive, but I'd rather see more bags.
okay,
The grippers, I know they were popular, but I can't see you wearing out your gripper. So I'd like to entertain in the future, another project besides the gripper, but the bags are important because you're gonna be putting your education material in it, either the coloring book or your gripper or whatever's next. And we still got a bunch of discs to get rid of too.
if we can certainly go with more bags. Now, I costed,
Or even all bags.
Tom, you're gonna have upset people out there because no, when I was at Arujo's in November, I got comments like, oh, I love these things. I've had one so long, it's all dried out and cracked. They do wear out. They're telling me this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yes, we'll do this again. All right. So, I looked at bags. Obviously, 1,000 bags at $1.40 would cost us $1,400 plus 45 for the setup. So that's $1,445 plus shipping. I'm gonna guess ship 350
Right, I would, budgeting while we're discussing, I would put 500 down.
for shipping.
Yeah, you'll be under that, but just so you can make sure you get them, that way you can increase your number in bags and still not.
All right, so,
That's just my opinion, that's
no,
nothing.
all I know is it's expensive, because when Roz ordered them, I said, good grief.
Yeah, yep, I remember that.
So 1,000 bags, the price goes to $1.40. And with the shipping estimate of 500, we're talking $19.95.
2,500.
So how does the committee feel about going with 1,000? Because then I can still limit them, and I can stretch this out to maybe 5 events. By 1,000?
Well, multiple years, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely multiple years. The other thing too is I do have cases of the disc frisbees. So I don't have to, the bags are great at Arujo's because it's a sale. People are buying stuff. And they like to have a bag to go around to all those vendor tables. So that's really great. I don't have to have bags in township because it's not the same type of event, but that would stretch them out further. I were to go with, the other thing too is, I were to go with 1,000 grippers. At 40 cents, I'm only talking $400, which would mean the 1995 and 400, so that's 23.95. 1995. Is that what I said? 19, I wrote the wrong number. That would be 23.95, and that would be multiple years.
Mhm.
The other thing is, we also have coloring books, and that would be good for cow chip, little grippers, and either the coloring books or I'll probably go with the Frisbees to get rid of them because it's going to be an outside event. And then we'd have the bags and we'd have grippers and coloring books for the November Arts Festival. So we'll look at the budget a little more. But how do you feel about 1,000 bags and 1,000 grippers at a best guess at $23.95?
Sounds
Lisa?
all right by me,
Okay,
as long as there's money in the budget to get it done.
yeah, well, we gotta look at the budget again. How do you feel?
Say it again, I was looking at the minutes.
1,000 grippers, 1,000 bags, it's gonna cover multiple events and quite frankly, years.
No, it's fine. She's waiting for you to make a motion.
So I'll make a motion that we purchase those.
1,000 of each,
Yeah.
okay, contingent on budget funds.
What are the bags made of?
You know, they're that, I don't have
More
one,
what Heather's carrying. Yeah,
Cloth,
that's that cloth type stuff,
cloth or like recycled plastic?
yeah, more like that
More
there.
like that?
yeah.
They recycle?
Oh, yeah, they're made out of recycled materials. They're made out of plastic bottles.
Love that.
Oh, yeah, we are environmentally savvy. Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second,
So we have a motion and a second to buy 1,000 shopping bags at $1.40 each, plus setup and shipping. Estimated cost $19.95, and 1,000 grippers. Estimated cost 40 cents each, 400, at a total cost of $2,395. Based on availability of funds. What that means is Tom and I will look at it again and figure this out and go from there. But I think it's a start. So, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Lisa?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so that's that one. That's this one. Agenda item 7, approval of the minutes for January 15th. Is there a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. But I would like discussion.
All right, I need a second.
Second.
We have motion and a second.
I wasn't here,
Discussion.
Tom, I wasn't here, Tommy, that's why.
You don't have to be,
No,
no.
Yeah, you were at the meeting in January,
was,
right here.
oh,
You want to edit that?
yep. Sorry, I was here,
Yeah.
15th.
Yeah,
February.
yeah. Okay, so my edits, just having a chance to look at them, look at the minutes. But for item 4B, Blue Wave, instead of it saying Lisa Caledonia stated that as-built plans were provided to Weston and Sampson, so they may request a certificate of compliance. Can we say Lisa Caledonia stated that as-built plans were provided to Weston and Sampson, and the Conservation Commission voted to issue a certificate of compliance at their October 17th, 2024 meeting?
Is that a motion to amend the minutes?
Yes, and there's another amendment.
Okay, we have a motion to amend the minutes. Is there a second to the motion?
Second,
All right, vote on the amended minutes. Vote on the amendment. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. So you got another one? Wait, let's do these all at once.
Let's do them all at once.
All right, so what I need you to do is write out exactly what you just said and give it to Heather.
This is her copy.
Okay,
Yeah. So the second one is item 4C. So I just wanted to add in that the second sentence, instead of it saying Lisa Caledonia is waiting for an actual form and letter from the engineer, I'm also waiting for the plan. Because no one's received that, correct? As of January, no one had received the plan. I
as
had.
far as I know.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add in, Lisa Caledonia is waiting for the actual form, comma, plan and letter from the engineer.
Okay, so you want to add that to your First Amendment?
Yeah, and one more,
You said 2.
3 altogether.
All right. You see, this is why you need to read these ahead of time.
No, but Nancy, I haven't even had a chance. My minutes are 8
I
pages.
don't care about your minutes. I really care about
9 minutes, never mind yours.
someone.
Well, can you help me with my minutes? Come on. Anyways, all right, 4D, Sunny's Way. I just wanted to correct, because it says Lisa Caledonia stated that the tie-in was approved and they will be restoring the backyard, blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to say Lisa Caledonia stated the tie-in was approved by the Conservation Commission.
Okay, is that everything?
That's everything.
All right, so that's all going to be part of
That's all right.
a series of amendments, as you stated. So we have a motion, we have a second. Is all of that okay with everybody?
Mhm.
So the minutes will be amended based on what you just said. So now you're voting on the amendment, all of those amendments, all in favor? Aye. Lisa?
I said aye.
Okay. So you're gonna write that out and give it to Heather, and you just take the minutes and make the corrections, all right?
Take it
And when you do, send them out again, just so that those not here know that there were amendments. Now we're gonna vote on the minutes as amended. I need a motion.
Motion to approve amended minutes.
I need a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Just say aye.
Does anyone have any unanticipated items? The audience, which we don't have. Public input.
Yeah, one,
You're gonna be public input?
just a question.
Okay.
It's not on the agenda. So I hear in other meetings, people are questioning or commenting on the new Zoom availability with the open meeting law. Are we still Zooming in the future? Are we required to? I think it's a good tool with a Canadian company.
Yeah.
But it's worth looking into. If we don't know how to respond, at least look into it.
Did you get a copy of the email I sent out with that MMA flash that says that it's passed and we can continue? It would have been within the past couple of days.
Yes. Yeah, except for I don't know what that means. Are we required to Zoom? Or are we allowed to continue to Zoom?
As far as I'm concerned, we're just gonna continue unless somebody on high says to us, you can't do that anymore. As a matter of fact, I sent it out to everybody and their grandmother,
Right.
and only 4 people responded and said, thanks for the update. And then 3 of them were connected to the town, but not physically in any of our
It's
buildings.
also a nice tool, Weston Sampson too.
Yeah,
Save money, especially if we gotta pay for them to show up.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
True.
yeah,
Very true.
yeah.
they usually show up anyway.
Yes, I just didn't know where we stood with it.
We're
I
gonna,
didn't want to take for granted that whatever judgment happened, but I needed to know, are we required or are we still allowed to?
we're allowed to, and from what I got from that notice from MMA is the fact that the legislation got passed, I think we're good to go.
Okay.
I would be very surprised if anybody told us from the town level, oh, you can't do that anymore, because I'm gonna be the first one to say, time out. We got international people. We all deal with Weston and Sampson, and if you're gonna bring them to meetings, it's ka-ching, ka-ching. Who's gonna pay for that? Developers aren't gonna pay for them to come to our meetings. Okay,
One more piece of public input. Thank you for sending the drought advisory information.
that really surprised me.
I know.
Because the news, the weather reporters, the weather people at Channel 10 were saying, oh, with this almost 3 inches of rain, the drought, and then the notice came out today. We're still in a level 2 in this part, and other parts of the state are level 3, which is even worse. So that was another thing I sent out to a lot of people, just to let them know, all that rain didn't solve the problem. And of course, now's the time of year, it's burning season. So that's another thing that everyone has to remember, that
Yes.
may be able to burn, but you got to be aware. Yeah, as I said, that was a real surprise, getting that again today. It's like, whoa. Correspondence. The selectmen's meeting last week, there was an agenda item that talked about who represents what departments, the makeup of the PAC committee, which is the permitting and
Compliance team.
compliance team. Thank you. So anyhow, I talked to Tom about it, and as a result of our discussion on behalf of the Stormwater Committee, Tom and I sent the following letter. It was addressed to the 3 selectmen, the copy to the town administrator. And it says, dear Mrs. Karen Pacheco and Mrs. Mello, regarding PAC, we write to express concerns about the lack of Stormwater Committee, SWC representation on PAC since the departure of the health agent / stormwater agent. The lack of representation and failure of communication has created problems for the Stormwater Committee and for those needing a stormwater permit in compliance with the town's stormwater bylaw and regulations. That lack of representation resulted in a very loud outburst and confrontation from the project owner during a SWC meeting regarding the need for a permit and subsequent unfair and incorrect criticism of Weston and Sampson and its role as engineers for the town. The project representatives were told they did not need a stormwater permit, even though review by Weston and Sampson showed they had disturbed well over 35,000 square feet. They also thought that Weston and Sampson was going to review their project again, in effect, duplicate work already completed for the Planning Board and Conservation Commission and bill them again for work already completed. That was never the case. More recently, a proponent of an unidentified, quote, solar energy project, unquote, contacted the Stormwater Committee chairman several times and requested that a 30-minute or more telephone conference be set up to discuss stormwater. He was told repeatedly that he had to go to the Planning Board and Conservation Commission and that their decisions would determine if the project would move forward, which would then involve the Stormwater Committee. We request that consideration be given to having the Stormwater Committee represented on the PAC if it continues to exist. Although the Board of Health is the permitting agency for the Stormwater Committee, it is not responsible for enforcement of the town's stormwater bylaw and regulations, site visits, reporting, and working with Weston and Sampson. We will provide additional information if requested. Thank you for your consideration of this request. So I wanted to read that into the record because there was discussion at the selectmen's meeting. Kerry got up and talked about the role of the planning board as far as all the plans and all that goes. Lisa got up to talk about the Conservation Commission and its needs. And I get up to talk about what we do. Yes, the bylaw is clear that stormwater, there are responsibilities from both the planning board and the Conservation Commission. But what we know is that they handle permitting in that. But the reason Stormwater Committee got formed was because there were no inspections done. Housing developments were permitted and built. And then by 2018, when I was back here and a member of the Board of Health, we had residents coming in complaining about water in my property, water in my basement, water here, there, and everywhere. And that's why the Stormwater Committee was formed. So I think between the three, among the three of us, we were able to show to the Board of Selectmen, we in effect all work together, planning, stormwater, conservation. We all have our separate areas, but we all interconnect somehow. And there's no way the Planning Board or Conservation Commission is going to go out and do site visits and inspections and all that other good stuff. And the one saving grace that we all have in common is we now have Weston and Sampson, and somebody else has to pay for them to do the work. So I think the impact I think the three of us had was positive. I think the selectman and town administrator will look at membership. I said, I'm willing to do it. I don't have to do it as long as somebody from Stormwater is there. If I'm not there, maybe Tom can do it. But the other thing is, I don't want it all dumped on him either. So.
And I certainly don't want it all dumped on me. I'm just
So
for the record.
the fact of the matter is, we'll see what comes out of it, because I haven't heard anything since then. Remember, I think it's going to be on the agenda for the next meeting to talk about it some more.
Oh,
I think that's how it was left. They were going to consider all this stuff. And if not, we're just going to ask them to bring it up again. We all need to know. We don't want to go back to pre-Stormwater Committee as far as monitoring, inspecting, enforcing conditions at large developments, whether they're housing, whether they're, I don't know, buildings, whatever. We don't want to go back to that, because without inspection, you got nothing, but you're going to have a lot of headaches down the road, which we all found out. I already mentioned the letters we sent to the banks, and I have the letters here to sign for Mr. Thompson before you leave. Our next meeting is April the 16th. Does anyone else have anything that they want to bring up or see on a future agenda or anything like that? If not,
Yes.
oh, we have something.
So I will not have any approval yet. I won't be here April 16th.
did you ask for approval?
You're not going to be out shooting anything, are you? Oh, I don't want to hear about that.
Listen,
Okay, so,
I don't have to be here. I'm only one person.
no, it's not a problem. I don't intend to change the meeting unless I hear somebody else isn't going to make it. Okay?
Right.
So, does anyone else have anything? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Who made the motion?
oh, you can't make the motion, Nancy. I'm sorry. You can't as a chair.
Oh,
I thought you just did.
no, I said,
Motion to adjourn.
No, I'll second the
There you
motion.
go.
All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
all in favor. Aye.
Aye.
So it's, what's it say there? 207?
207.
207 sounds good. Okay,
Oh, I've seen you sit there like.
so Tom can kill it.